I designed a T-Rex pop-up card. Well, I'm going to try something new today. Taking the principle of this pop-up card, where you have a little butterfly that pops through the window, I want to take this design and transform it into a different thing. So I took my paper and I folded it in quarters so that I know what size I'm working with. I want my pop-up image to be this T-Rex head, and inside I want a body, and I want to have the two legs to be sitting on this little shelf right here so that they are higher than the body itself. And I want the cover to come out through this ragged hole like he just busted through the wall or whatever material I choose for the cover. So it'll look like a three-dimensional card. So this is my drawing, this is my plan. I took some Mylar and I copied the patterns I need for the body that will be glued onto the back, for the legs that will be glued onto the shelf, the teeth, the eye, and a black base for the darkness for inside of his mouth, and then the skin that will go on top. So I'm going to use these as my pattern pieces to cut them out. Now I just got to pick my colors, cut them out, and I'll have to do it by hand because I don't have a die cut. But the reason I'm doing this is because my grandson, he is enamored with dinosaurs, and I bought him a gift that is a Jurassic Park gift, a Lego set with Jurassic Park. And so I wanted to have the T-Rex, and this idea came to me in my dream as I thought about this pop-up card. So I want to make a pop-up dinosaur, but I want to make it a dinosaur for a boy, to make him so that it's special. So let's see how this goes. Black for the base of the head. And I have this textured paper. It could look like skin. I only have 2 of them, but it's enough. This will do the body, and that part will do the head, and there's enough to do the hands, so that'll work. For the skin, white for the teeth, and this color for the eye. And all of this came out of my scrap bin. Whoops, there's 2 of those. I only need 1. So I'm gonna use these to cut out. I'm just gonna like lay it on top and cut out both at the same time to cut out my patterns. Actually, I think I'll separate this, make it a little easier. I'll just lay it on top and we'll cut out both parts at the same time. You have the black part done. Cut out the skin of the head. Now this, we don't need to worry about the teeth. Teeth are going to be separate. I actually do want to cut off a little bit more because I want the black to show through. So, teeth are going to be separate. I do need to keep a tongue. So I'm going to go in here and cut out the mouth part. No, I think I'm going to make the tongue a separate color. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Alright, we need to have the side of the mouth show up here. Okay, so there's the skin, and I need to use this for a tongue. So I got to pull out a color for the tongue, and the rest of this can be used for this part here. for the arms. Yep, it's good enough. Now when I get them all cut out, I'm going to have to do some drawing on each to add the details. I did not put the details on the pattern because there's no use. We have the arms. This is the cutout from the teeth. I just need the tongue. I've chosen this color for the tongue. So I'm probably going to color the back end of it black so it'll blend in with the black background. So we have the tongue. Now the teeth, we have two parts, the upper jaw and the lower jaw. So I'm going to separate this, make it a little bit easier. This is going to be the part that is going to be the hardest to cut out. So we'll separate that and we'll cut each part out separately. Now I made them a little bit longer so that it will fit right underneath the teeth, right underneath the jaw opening, the mouth. So that way I don't have to have the individual teeth all separate. Because I really didn't want to deal with teeny tiny little pieces. Here I just really concerned about the outside shape. I just want to get rid of the excess, so I'll make it a little easier to cut this. I'm going to have a bunch of tiny pieces, so I need to move this stuff out of the way so I can have my pieces fall. That way I can just throw away the pieces when I'm done. I just want to cut away most of it. I may come back and reshape the teeth after I get the excess cut away. That's the basic, but I may need to shape it just a little bit. It seems tall, but we'll see how it looks once we put it on. So we have one jaw, now the other jaw. You see how it's done. I'm just cutting into the corner, one little piece at a time. It's getting harder to hold on to. Now, I may need to look at it to decide if I need to reshape it, but I will look at that inside the mouth, see how it looks. Let's get rid of all of these little pieces so I can pull out all my parts and start seeing how it's going to look. I have spare envelope from having die cut, so I'm going to take all my pattern parts to this dinosaur and we will put them in here so that if I ever want to make it again, that I have it. Pattern piece for the eye, tongue. So now I just have my pieces left, and I will probably take my original sketch and I'll fold it up and I will put that in here as well so that I know what this is. But I need it for now because I need to do some artwork on some of my pieces. Just set this aside. So I have created a pattern, my own original pattern. So let's start putting this together and see how it's going to look. My cuts are a little off. I may have to make some adjustments. That's going to be cool. And this little teeth will fit underneath, and that's going to be cool. But I got to do a little bit of artistry on all of it. I just kind of wanted to see how it's looking. Not too bad. Tongue, well, I got to do some work on it. The hands. Now I just got to do my artwork on pieces, but I think I want to do that eye, glue it on before I lose it. Okay, so let's keep my drawing here so that I can see what it is I have to do. Get out my markers and start create this awesome card. With tiny little pieces is hard. So I kind of hold it down. I went around it with a sort of a brown marker. Now I want to put the pupil in, or the iris, I guess. There. Sometimes it's useful to have little tools to help hold. So with pencil, I am sketching in some of the details that I need. I don't want to do it with markers just yet. I just want to make sure that I have everything exactly as I want it. So I'm looking at my sketch over here and trying to put the marks on here so that I know where things are supposed to be. That way I'll know exactly where that eyeball needs to go, and I'll come in with my markers to do some details. And before I glue that eye on, I need to make some marks. Yeah, I think I do want black, just because I want that eye to really stand out, but maybe not such thick lines. Alright, there are certain places where a thick line would be useful, like right up where the mouth is. And I think it'd be a good idea to have a little line right there on that edge. That right there is the inside of the mouth. So I'm putting a black line so you can see it. And I think just to help the whole thing stand out, it would be really good to have the outside edges, to have a black line. Now I'm doing this on my table. These are waterproof. I can wash these marks when I get on my table. This is a stone that I'm working on, and I can scrape glue off of it, scrape paint off of it. I can wash glue or wash off markers. So it's okay if I write on my table a little bit. See, dark outline to make it a little clear. Alright, let's look at my drawing, see if there's anything else. Yeah, I need some little marks. Small detail. I am going to do some coloring as well to add more dimension and more detail to this whole thing. And to get the idea for this, I looked up a bunch of pictures on Google, and to kind of get my inspiration, I think I'll use this color for some of the shadows. I want it to be, oh, that's kind of dark, but that's okay. The top can be a little bit dark. Maybe I need a little bit lighter color. Let's choose a lighter brown. Let me test. It still looks really dark on there. Let's try a lighter color. Okay, it's a little lighter. Alright, I like that better. And we need some shadows here. This back part needs to be shadowed. There's going to be some shadows under here because it's a sort of a flat between the mouth, and this part needs to be shadowed. There does seem to be some marks up in here. I could put a lot more detail into it, which I may. I'm just showing some of the lines in the face, some of the wrinkles. Okay, this back part could be shaded a little bit. Oh, especially right in here, yeah. That would be good for that to be shaded. Okay, and this part, we'll go with this again. Could be darker there. I'm just going to kind of dot it. Add a little more detail. Hint at some scales here. And I'll just use a little dot. Add a little bit more texture. I may use different colors. That one's really light. Let's go to this one. Yeah, that shows up a little better. I'm just kind of stippling. This is called stippling. Certain places I want to have a lot of it. And some places I don't want very much. Just to add some nice little dinosaurish T-Rex texture. This way I add some shadows without making it too dark. And that's one way you can add some shadows when you're working with markers. Following the shadows. Add some dots. Go a little darker. Because some places I must have it darker. Not shadowed areas. These darker areas we can have more of those. Gives it some really cool texture. Stippling. Being a little bit more, not exacting, but what's the word I'm trying to say? A little bit more defined. A little more control, but down here just some dots. Lots of dots to create cool dinosaurish texture. Yeah, the paper has some texture. We could have more shadows down here. This whole back part's supposed to be behind, kind of going down the neck, so it should be kind of shadowed. Alright, this little corner needs to be a little darker. Oh, that's looking really cool. Is that not cool? That is pretty awesome. Now, I hope I haven't lost my eyeball. I need to put my eye on. Adding a little bit of peach because this is inside the mouth. And right on this edge, again, it's kind of inside the mouth. I want a little bit of color right there. And just for a little variety, I'm gonna add some gold right here. And also right here. And a little bit along this edge. I think this edge could use a little bit of something. Now for the eye. Pick up the eye. Oh, shoot. There. Look at that. Is that not cool? Look at that eye. I want to glue the teeth right up in here, but I want to make sure that they're the right shape. Oh yes, the tongue. I need to shade the tongue for sure. And we need to do that with black because I want the back end of the tongue to just kind of disappear. Let me see. The tongue goes this way. First of all, we have to add a little black edge around the tip a little bit, even though it's pointed. Alright, now there is a line down the center, and then it's going to be some shadowing. So I'm going to kind of shadow the tongue. Don't want to add too much color, so this is where I'm going to use the stippling effect to just sort of fade away fade away the black. So you just see a little bit of the pink of the tongue, and I want the crease of the tongue just a little bit more shadowed. See, by putting these tiny little dots, the stippling, I am giving some shadows without putting too much color, by allowing some of the pink to show through. So I can put a subtle shadow with markers. Okay, then we put that tongue in there, and that looks cool. But I'm not sure exactly where to put it just yet. I guess I need to put it in there before the teeth. So I need to figure out where it goes. That's where it goes. I'm going to make me a little pencil line so that I know kind of where it needs to be. Alright, and the tip. So now I know where to put my glue. I need to examine my teeth to see if they need to be adjusted in shape. Plus, I need to put some shadows to separate the teeth, because right now it's just one solid piece of white. So looking at my drawing, and here's where I don't want to use too much color, so I'm probably going to pull out my color pencils because markers are too strong. So I'm going to get my color pencils. This is the lower jaw, yellow. I need to sharpen some pencils. Images that I worked from, this image right here for the head, and I collected a bunch of photos from Jurassic Park to get an idea of what he looks like, and I kind of looked at this body, but I really got my ideas for the body from right here. Couldn't always tell what's happening in there, so that's why I needed these other photos, but I really liked these hands and this foot. So I'm kind of using ideas from all of them, and there's no room for the tail, so I decided I would, instead of having his tail up in the air, I had his tail wrapped around the bottom. So I get my ideas from various sources, and I make myself a slideshow so that I can just go back and forth looking at the images that I need. But this is what I'm getting my coloring ideas from, this right here. And if I wanted to, I could bring out my white colored pencil and add some shine. I might do that because I'm a realist. So now I'm looking at here, I'm looking at the teeth, and I want to figure out how to color the teeth. So I keep that in front of me. Let's see if I can do this. I separate the teeth a little bit. I want a little bit of shadow on the outside edges, but mostly the darker shadows on the right. I have to add some shadows around the base. Some of these teeth don't have a lot of color on them. Just kind of round the bottoms of them. It seems like I've got these teeth too tall back there. I may have to cut some of those down. That's why I didn't want to cut it too much. Okay, here's a tooth right here. And this one has to be a little higher up. And these teeth are kind of in a row. They're all close together. Let's see. So there's all these teeth in a row, so you really don't see much of it, so that can be darker. And I'm not liking this part right here, so I'm gonna cut off this little part. Alright, and these need to be shorter back here. Okay. Now we'll continue continue. They seem to get darker as they go back into the mouth there. I think I also need some black, because I need some darker colors because it goes into the mouth, so I need to darken the insides of the mouth a little bit more. Oh, the pencil lead broke. Let's try putting that in the mouth so we can see what it looks like. I might want to cut a little bit of that black off. But I want the teeth to get shorter as they come back here. Yeah, I want some more dark down in here. So I put a mark. Let's make this area just a little darker. So I can make this look like realistic individual little teeth. Okay. Alright, I think I could glue that in. We just need a little bit of glue right around the very edge. I use my silicone mat. And we will position it. Okay, and there we have the bottom teeth. Let's see how it looks on our black. Okay, I'm seeing the black showing up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to cut this down just a little bit so it doesn't show up. Yep. Actually, I think it should come in a little bit because it's this flap on the other side. So it should be a little bit more. I do want the teeth to go inside there, just a little bit, because I want to make sure that this comes on the outside. See, it doesn't matter if it's off here. What matters is the way the mouth looks. I can always trim that extra black. That looks good. I'm going to go ahead and trim it so I know that that's what I want to do. Okay, now I got to work on the top teeth. Wow. That is impressive. He's got black spots on his teeth. Probably need to color brown along this edge and just start seeing what it looks like inside. Get an idea. These two are way too long. Way too long. You have to shorten them for sure. I want a little bit of yellowing on the teeth. He doesn't brush his teeth. Alright, let's examine it. This is inside the mouth. You're kind of seeing up underneath. Teeth on the other side of his mouth. Are these still too big? These last two? Yeah, I think they are. We need to trim them back just a little bit more. And we need to darken the edge.
Ooh.
Isn't he cool?
Very cool.
Yeah. And
He has dentures too.
yeah, he's got dentures. Yeah, I got to put his teeth in. I think I'm about ready to put his dentures on.
Cool.
Yeah, it's turning out pretty neat. I'm pleased.
I'm gonna go for a walk.
Okay. Enjoy.
This way.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, no go.
Before I glue this together, is there anything else that needs to be adjusted? That's what I've got to decide. I think we need a little bit more black right there. A little more separation of the teeth right there. I think we need a little bit more shadow. Okay, I am ready. I am ready to put this together. There. We have our T-Rex head. Now I need to work on the body. Okay, this is the black that I've put on so far. Now, this leg is forward and this leg is back, and I want that leg to be dark. So I am going to color this leg dark. I'm going to leave a little light edge that kind of shows up on that side. But I want all of this to be kind of dark because I'm going to push this leg back. Because I want it to show up kind of behind the body. Okay, I want this leg to be forward because the knee is bent. So I left this light and I put some shadow where the leg is bent backward. I want the bottom of the tail behind the body to be very dark, so that's black. And this leg, I want to push it back some, so I shadowed most of it. I don't need to worry about this because that's going to be covered up. And I just need to finish putting just a little bit of color. There's a little indent right here. And maybe some skinny lines. Kind of the wrinkles. Maybe, I think this side could have a little bit of, maybe not too dark. Maybe I could put a little bit of color right in here. This is the knee. As it comes down, it wraps around behind the body. So that's why I wanted it really dark where it comes up against the leg. More shadow in here. Don't want it to be too light there. Likes to be mostly in shadow. Okay, so we have the head and the arms, the front arms, and the legs. So it's sort of have a three-dimensional. Now I decided I want to put a banner, so I made a banner that fits. And I'm going to glue that there. That way, there's my message. And I've decided to make the card dark green, so that will go in there just like that. The pop-up feature, I need it to be 3" by 5". It's going to make a box. It's going to be right here. Probably hang it over the edge just a little bit like that. This will be underneath, right up close, so this will be glued on top. And then this. And then I think I'm going to pop the head up just a little bit with some dimensionals on here. So we need to start putting it all together. That's glued in. Before I put that in there, I have to cut the hole. I put a textured to make it sort of look like stone or rock. And my one concern right now is if I have a hole shaped like that, is that going to be too rough? Is it going to be hard for the head to pop out of it? Or should it be a smooth hole? I'm not actually sure. That's the one scary thing. So it's glued on the bottom and a little bit right here. So when the card closes up, that when it opens, the box opens. Alright, I want to position this part so that it hangs out where I want it to be. See, it's kind of three-dimensional already. The front of the body, the back of the body. It looks cool. Alright, we need one more thing before we put the head on. We have a little piece of paper that's about 2.5 inches, folded in half, and that's going to get glued right there in the middle. Line it up with that edge there. And we're going to attach the head to it. So we just need glue on this one part. So this is loose. Give that a minute to set. Now I want to put the head on here. The head will be attached to that, which will keep the head loose. But I also want to pop it up. So I'm actually going to use these little dimensionals to make the head just a little bit higher. I hope that works. These are really thick dimensionals, so I don't like them so much, but because I want my head to be higher, I think they'll work for this. I hope it works. You know, sometimes you have an idea and you think it's great, then you try and it doesn't work so well. Let's see if what I have imagined. The thing that I came up with in my dream. I often come up with ideas while I'm dreaming, while I'm sleeping in my bed, and I'm thinking about, well, I gotta make a card, and then I'll ponder and I'll get a vision of how it should be done. All right, now let's position the head pretty much center. Yes, it is bigger than the hole, so that's what keeps the card closed. Now let's see what happens. We'll see if my plan worked. Okay, And there it is. Oh, he kind of hides the happy birthday message. I guess I should have made the arms a little longer. All right, I'll have to modify that for the next one. Well, I have to get it in the mail today, so it is what it is. I guess I could have made those arms longer. Or hung the banner so it'd hang down here a little lower. But I still think he'll find it pretty cool. So to close it, you just have to tip the chin so it's out. That keeps it closed. So there's our T-Rex pop-up card. Comment below, let me know what you think of it. Yeah, there's a little room for improvement. I guess I should have made the banner lower. Can I fix it at this point? I don't think so, unless I pull it apart. Hold on. What if I add an extension? What if I glued another one going the opposite way, just a little shorter? That way he can lift it up. I'm going to find a fix. If I, but yeah, I need to modify my plan to make my arms longer. See, sometimes you can think your way through something and it doesn't work out exactly perfect. So you have to trial and error. So now he's got a long neck. So now you can see the happy birthday. So here we go. So now he's got this really long, he's got this really long neck. Oh, that's cool too. Look at that. Happy birthday. I don't know, that looks kind of goofy. But that means that it could stand up like this. Okay, yeah. His head, the banner, you can read it. And then look at that. It stands up. You have a three-dimensional T-Rex. Okay, so I fixed it. But I still think it would have been better if I made those arms longer. But I guess like this is fine. A stand-up card. I need to sign it and get it in the mail. Okay. So, oops, don't tuck your chin behind there. So it is a little bit wonky like this because it wants to kind of hang out because it's got this extra long neck. Oh well, he just wants to pop out of the card, right? There we go. Well, that was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing it. And it came out pretty close to what I was imagining. Just needs a little bit of modification. My grandson will absolutely love it, and it goes perfectly with his gift. Be sure and subscribe and check out my other channels. Remind you that this was made with scraps. The only new paper was the card base, and I just have a little bit left here. Well, I have 2 pieces left. They will go in my small scrap bin, but all of these other pieces were made from the little scraps, because I am all about using up scraps. This is where I put my leftover pieces. I kind of square them up and put them in this bin. I have a video on my channel on how to make this little scrap bin, and this is the first place I go when I need to add a little embellishment or decoration for my cards, and I use the papers out of here to make the dinosaur, the T-Rex. Now, my grandson should enjoy this very personalized, cool birthday card.